Hello, this is Spyderrock, and welcome back to another channel update video. Today, well, first off, I want to say thank you all so much for 40,000 subscribers. This is kind of a huge milestone, and I really am just excited to be here, and I feel so grateful, and well, obviously, I couldn't do it without those of you who are subscribed, so thank you to all of you so much for subscribing to my channel and sticking with me and supporting me, and it really does mean a whole lot. Today I wanted to talk about my plans in terms of, things I'm going to be working on in the future, of course my add-ons and my add-on pack that I am working on, updates to things, and a couple other things. Firstly, I did want to mention, to celebrate this milestone a little bit, I have created a new little line of merch. It's available right now. It's all like hand drawn, like I drew them and then I imported them to Photoshop and edited them and like made it all look all fancy. And I'm pretty happy with the design. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description. You can use the promo code THANKS40K or THX40K for 10% off for the first week. So it'll be available for maybe a month or two, but the code was only available for the first week. So those of you watching now, if you're interested, that's available. Another thing I did want to mention is since today's video is a channel update, and since we did just hit 40K, I am going to be uploading 3 times this week instead of my usual 2. I've been doing 2 times a week just to work on my add-ons and add-on pack and stuff, but I'm going to work extra hard to continue making the same progress on add-on stuff and upload 3 times this week. So this is number 1 technically, or number 0 or the previous week. Anyway, I'm going to be uploading on Monday and Wednesday and Saturday of this coming week. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was my add-on and my add-on pack. So some of you may know, I hope most of you would know, that I did stop doing 3 videos a week temporarily while I work on this add-on pack and all the add-ons in it, because I'm not just making an add-on pack of random add-ons, I'm making an add-on pack of add-ons that I'm making, if that makes sense. I'm making the add-ons and I'm going to release them as I make them, and then I'm going to make a pack at the end with all of them together just to have the ultimate Minecraft progression rework experience with all kinds of new stuff. So I did recently release my structure expansion add-on, and I have been working on updating that, getting things fixed, adding more structures and stuff. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was my new add-on that I'm working on, and it's called Industrial Defense. That's my current name for it, but I will probably change the name eventually. It's going to be a progression rework in the area of farming and resource gathering and defending a base. It's very much inspired by Rust and a lot of other things, but I've been playing a lot of Rust lately, and I haven't added that much yet that's like Rust inspired. But there will be a lot of things, like I'm gonna have little barrels that spawn around the world that you can break to get some supplies. There's a couple things that I will show in a second that you will be able to tell are inspired from that. There will also just be a ton of interesting new blocks. I'm not gonna add, it's kind of gonna be like a machinery type add-on, but I'm not gonna have any like direct machinery, no generators or anything like that really, except for some kind of basic things. Everything in this is meant to like work with or need to work with things that are already in Minecraft. So you're gonna have to use cobblestone generators, you're gonna have to use redstone, you're gonna have to use tree farms, you're gonna have to use melon farms. Really anything like that is what this add-on's going to be targeted towards. I've only kind of started it, I've been working on it. I will say it is, even cutting down 1 less video a week, it is still hard having enough time to work on add-ons and make videos and do school stuff and have spare time to do like social things and whatever. But this is what I have so far for this add-on. So we have multiple blocks, lots of blocks. So far I'm just focusing on blocks because I haven't really messed with custom blocks that much. And now that you can just get them from the inventory, I am using a lot of custom block stuff. So these are the speed block, the super speed block, and the hyper speed block, and they do exactly what they sound like they do. They make you faster for a short period of time. I believe it's only like 1 second or 2 seconds or something. You've got the hyper speed block, which makes you really fast for 1 sec, or the super speed block, and then the hyper speed block, which makes you insanely fast. So these are going to be mainly for like transportation. If you have a base and you have a bunch of tunnels going around the base and you want to use these blocks for that, you can. None of these things have recipes yet, but they will have recipes. Also, I'm probably going to go ahead and release this very shortly to channel members and just be releasing the alpha version and beta and whatever, all of the early builds of this to them. So if you're interested, you can check that out. We also have the float pad, the boost pad, and the sky pad. So these are 3 different things that allow you to go into space a little bit. So the float pad is intended for getting from 1 floor of a building or house to the next. I think it'll take you up high enough to have like a 4 block tall ceiling. Let's see. So let me go ahead and throw a float pad down here and we'll just see. I think I set it so if you wanted to have like 3 blocks, that works. but you could also maybe do 4 and use the float pad as well. Yeah, so no matter the size of your wall, you could probably figure out how to make this work. Then there's the boost pad, which sends you pretty high up. This would be for getting, maybe if you want to have a thing that lets you get on top of your house or building or base of any sort, this would allow you to do that pretty easily. It doesn't send you to space, but of course it sends you pretty high up enough that you could also maybe use it as like a little mini elytra thing. But if you really want an elytra thing, you're going to want a sky pad. Now the sky pad sends you completely to space. I believe I have the sky pad set to send you like, well, it sends you up to like close to the old build height limit, but it still sends you up pretty high. So it's high enough that you could get to the top of a really tall base, or you could do elytra from here. You can see it's far out of the RTX render distance that I have available. But it sends you really high. It's mainly for like stuff like elytra, or if you just want to get a vantage point, you can carry one of these around with you and you can look and see around, of course, assuming you're on higher than like 8 chunks of render distance. So that's what these are going to be for. They'll probably cost a combination of things like phantom membranes and maybe like levitation, like shulker shells, you know, that kind of stuff. Then we've got the compressor, and the compressor is just like a thing that turns things into things. For example, it turns cobblestone into obsidian. This is going to be a pretty late game item. It's going to be pretty expensive, but if you could imagine having a cobblestone generator and having the compressor compress your cobblestone into obsidian. And then there's also going to be a thing called a block breaker that I'm going to add eventually that will break blocks in a given area, or like break blocks in front of it. Pretty basic thing. But you'll be able to have an infinite obsidian source if you need a lot of obsidian, because I will say a lot of things in this add-on will probably end up requiring obsidian for crafting, and it's, I think, going to be just a generally useful resource in the add-on pack. So also it looks awesome in RTX. I don't know why, I'm just kind of obsessed with the way obsidian looks in RTX with the pack I have on. It's nice. And then of course there's other things. You can turn pumpkins and melons into bone blocks. So if you have a pumpkin or melon farm, which aren't too bad to do. Also, it works if you put them next to it as well. So if you had, say, the pumpkin, like the plant here, and then it grows the pumpkin on the here, and then it can turn it into a bone block, and then you can have another thing that maybe breaks the bone block, or something that will pull, like, notice this change, and then will like lift up the bone block. Like, you could do a lot with this. So those of you that are like really good at redstone and stuff, I think there's going to be a lot of potential for this. And then it will turn logs into this stuff called smash wood, which is this right here. Now the smash wood, the thing about smash wood is this gives you a way to get, hold on, let me hop into survival. This provides you with a way to get an infinite source of coal. So if you can imagine, if you have a tree farm, there are ways to make automatic and semi-automatic tree farms, and this add-on will have things that will let you automate tree farms. You could have a tree farm that generates logs. Pistons push the logs into this, where they turn into smash wood, and then you have a block breaker, which I will add eventually, that breaks the smash wood, and that gives you a coal. I should probably set this to a charcoal, but I kind of like having this just set to regular coal. I don't know why, it's just kind of easier. So you can get smash wood, and it turns it into coal. Now the smash wood is also blast proof, so if you need a cheap blast proof block, that's what this is going to be for. If you need, if you want to like keep the block itself, you'll want to silk touch it, but you could get smash wood for like a very easy, very cheap blast proof block instead of using, and it's easy to break. The only thing is it's very flammable. I mean, it's coal, it kind of makes sense in some ways, but yeah, you could imagine having this set up to be basically a coal generator. So this add-on's going to have a whole lot of things like this, where you can get generators, but it's not just a generator block. You actually have to go out of your way to make a whole contraption. And there's going to be efficient ways to do it. There's going to be ways that you can think to do it that I would have never thought to have done it. Let me go back into creative for a second. Next we have the blast proof glass, which is exactly what it sounds like. Also, I'll probably add RTX textures to all these things. Luckily the glass stuff like does. Although this does kind of cast a shadow, so I need to fix that just in normal Minecraft. But the blast proof glass is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be tough glass. It's going to be fully blast proof. Like, you cannot explode this stuff. So if you worry about, I know like glass, like if you put regular glass down, like stuff behind it's not going to blow up. That's kind of like a Minecrafty thing, I think. This is going to be purely, like, entirely blast proof. So if you're wanting to build a fortified base, and you know, maybe in the future I'm going to release an add-on with explosive enemies that target walls and target you inside your base, you never know. That's what this stuff is going to be for. It's going to be for protecting your base in the form of glass and like glass blocks. So that's blast proof glass. Next I have bamboo planks. These will be able to be crafted with like 1 or 2 bamboo. They are flammable, they break easily, and they're eventually going to drop just like 1 bamboo back or nothing at all, but they are going to be an easy way to build a quick base. They're going to be the equivalent of in Rust the like, not wood, but like the twig stuff that you can get when you're first building. If you need to just build something quickly, and this is going to be a much cheaper way to do it, at least if you have access to bamboo. It's going to be like, the idea is that it's going to be cheap enough that like maybe 4 bamboo for 2 of these, or 4 bamboo for even 4 of these. Like it costs like maybe 1 bamboo for 1 of these blocks. If you need blocks fast that will get the job done, that aren't like dirt, that's what this is kind of going to be for, like scaffolding in a way, but you know, not actually scaffolding because you can't use it like scaffolding. Then I've got a sheet metal block. This is going to be the most durable thing in the game. It's going to be blast proof. It's going to be everything. It's literally just a metal block. They're going to be pretty expensive, but it's going to be a good way for reinforcing your base, and it's a little bit less like flashy than just like iron blocks or gold blocks. It's going to be expensive though. I mean, that makes sense. It's essentially like obsidian, but you can break it quickly, and assuming you have the right tool, because there's going to be like a special tool for that in this. You can break it quickly, and it fits into a build, and it's, you know, very, very like explosive resistant and everything. And maybe I'll even do it so when you're standing on it you get resistance or something. Like, I'm gonna make this like a really good block to build a base out of. Next we've got the crusher and the inverse crusher. So the crusher and inverse crusher function very similarly. Let me go ahead and grab some blocks just to show you. So these work with cobblestone, gravel, and stone for the most part. So the crusher doesn't do anything to cobblestone, but it turns gravel into sand and stone into cobblestone. If you have either of these things, especially if you end up with a lot of gravel and stone, and you want them to, I don't know why you'd want something necessarily to turn stone into cobblestone, but if that's a thing you want, it's a thing that can be done, and you could use this to automate something in some way. I don't know, I think people can get creative. Then this one works with cobblestone into sand and stone into gravel. So I think the idea is generally that if you have like stone a lot, you can have it go into this and turn into gravel, and then push into this and turn into sand. Or if you have cobblestone a lot, you can go straight to sand with this one. I think will be a little bit more expensive because that's probably a better deal than gravel into whatever. And you could use that, I mean, like, it also works on all sides, by the way. So you could use this with a like cobblestone generator to end up with a sand generator, for example. There's going to be a lot of things that turn cobblestone into different things. There's going to be a lot of different blocks that do that. So that's going to be one of the ways you're going to be able to get generators. Next, we have the living subdirt, which does not currently work properly, but it's supposed to be placing the thing 2 blocks in the air. Essentially, it's going to be a way to get infinite saplings. I'm still working on getting some kind of timer thing set up for it so that it doesn't just constantly spew out saplings, but it's going to be a thing that places down saplings, and then I'm going to have another block that will instantly grow saplings. So you can kind of like place the sapling down, grow the sapling into a tree, so you can automate a tree farm and you can get an infinite coal source, things like that. Then finally I have sulfur. This ore is set to generate now, but it doesn't actually drop anything. I need to fix that. Anyway, this sulfur, the idea is that this is going to be able to be craftable with charcoal more likely than anything to turn into gunpowder. That's how it works in Rust, and I really like that idea because like gunpowder, unless you have like some kind of generator thing on, or you're doing a lot of quests like quest crafts type stuff, gunpowder can be pretty hard to get. I think, at least in large amounts, and a lot of add-ons, at least add-ons that I've made, well, I've noticed, require a lot of gunpowder. So this is going to be a way to make, to get a lot of gunpowder more easily, is by finding these sulfur veins down underground. Anyway, that's all I really have so far with this add-on. I'm gonna have probably 25 or 30 different blocks. My plan is to have some kind of vehicle, like maybe a flying car, and then I'm gonna have probably some kind of turret as well, and then maybe like 1 or 2 mobs to, you know, defend. This is gonna be kind of like that kind of machine, my take on a machinery add-on. Anyway, that's really where I am right now with working on stuff. I've got a lot of ideas for this like laid out. I just need to actually make them. So that's what I've been spending my time doing. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it to here, see you later. Thanks again for 40,000 and goodbye.